Hello, everyone. This is Warhawk Beyond 2040, bringing to you another edition of the Wrestling Discussion Series. And March 22nd, 2004 marks 20 years ago that Edge made his shocking and triumphant return to WWE on Raw during the draft lottery after a year absence. And for today's edition, I am going to be talking about the success and failures of Edge's 2004 face run from March 2004 to September 2004. So, after being taken out at No Way Out 2003, Edge would not be seen on WWE TV for well over a year, and in the process, missed not one but two straight consecutive WrestleManias. And I was under the impression that we would never see Edge again because I had heard no updates about how he was doing. There was no interviews with him or how he was getting on recovering. I pretty much thought Edge's career was done. I mean, he wasn't old, he was still in his prime. He was still at the top of his game on SmackDown as one of the top guys of the Blue brand. But I just thought we would never see him again. And to see Edge return during the draft lottery was a real shocking moment. And it was great to see him. He looked in great shape and he looked like he hadn't missed a beat. He made an impact. He speared Eric Bischoff on his first night. So this said to me that this is going to be a different Edge than the last time we saw him because the last time we saw Edge, he was a very smiley, cheerful, bubbly face, but a badass in the ring. This Edge, I got the impression, okay, he's a face, but he's going to be playing a bit more rough. So this is not going to be a happy-go-lucky Edge who would always try to make people laugh and try to get a pop from the fans. This is an Edge who is a little bit older and probably a little bit bitter about the fact that he's been off TV for so long. This is an Edge who is here for one thing, and that is to be WWE champion or a world champion, so to speak. So that was the impression I got with Edge. So I thought, okay, Edge is here on Raw, although I probably would have preferred him to be on SmackDown because I felt that was where he was at his best, but he proved me wrong on that score. So I thought, okay, Edge is here. He's going to mix it up with Evolution. He's going to be feuding with this guy and that guy. And his first feud was against Kane. Oh boy. I love Kane, don't get me wrong, but I felt Kane kind of lost it a bit after suffering another defeat at the hands of The Undertaker at WrestleMania 20. I just felt Kane was really starting to lose himself and his character, and he wasn't really the big monstrous threat that he was post unmasking. But I thought pairing Kane against Edge was a nice little warm up for Edge. I thought, okay, he'll feud with Kane for a few weeks and then we'll get straight into the meat and potatoes, which is the world title. So Edge injured his hand, and we had this whole little storyline where Edge would use the cast to win matches. And I just got the impression that creative wise, it just seemed like they didn't really know what to do with Edge. That's just how it came across to me. I mean, you've got a top guy, Edge can wrestle, he's over. What more do you need? And it just seemed like they didn't know what to do with him. And that really annoyed me. I just thought, why are we wasting our time feuding with Kane? We should be going for the top guys, like Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, Triple H. Those are the guys you should be feuding with. I know Kane is a top guy, but he wasn't really on the same level as the other gentlemen that I mentioned already. But, be that as it may, this was just kind of like a warm up feud. You know, Edge feeling his way back into competing in the ring again. And, you know, what I couldn't understand is Edge made a huge impact on his first night back. He speared Eric Bischoff. I thought, okay, Bischoff is going to, essentially play the heel authority figure. He's going to make Edge's life a living hell. You know, we've seen this sort of thing played out time and time again. And that's what I thought we were going for. And yeah, I wasn't really feeling this. I mean, we were off to such a strong start, Edge coming back, and then after that, it just went whack, straight down. So Edge would compete in his first ever pay per view match since the Royal Rumble 2003, and that was Backlash 2004. And he would pick up a very cheap win over Kane. He would hit him with the cast and then spear him. I just thought, okay, this was not a great match, but great to see Edge back on pay per view and pick up his first ever victory after being out of the ring for well over a year. And then after that, what do WWE Creative do when they have nothing for Edge? Stick him in the tag team. And that's exactly what they did. They paired him up with Chris Benoit, and him and Benoit defeated Ric Flair and Batista from Evolution for the World Tag Team titles. And it was great to see Edge hold the tag team titles again. But I kind of felt like they were just repeating the same formula. I mean, we've seen Edge win the tag team titles countless times, and he's one of the greatest tag team specialists of all time. But I just thought, why are we doing the same thing with Edge? Why aren't we pushing him for the world title? This is where Edge should be. We've done the tag team stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, Benoit and Edge made a great tag team, but it's not really what I wanted to see. Edge should be in the thick of things, mixing it up with the top guys, and basically position himself as a championship contender. So that was what was going on. And again, the face run, it was good, but it was just a bit strange because I don't know really. I got the impression, as I said earlier, creative didn't know what to do with Edge. Edge seemed like he was just coasting along in his comfort zone. He was just like, yeah, I'll do that. Why not? Even though he's already done these sort of things before. I just kind of feel that Edge was trying to find his identity on Raw. He was just going through the motions, as I said already, winning the tag team titles and just floating along. He was just another guy on Raw. He wasn't like one of the top guys. He was just another guy. And I always felt that Edge was so much more than that. And shortly after Edge and Benoit lost the tag team titles to La Resistance, Edge would then begin a one man crusade and essentially go on a mission to take down Evolution. And he would start feuding with Randy Orton for the Intercontinental title. And Randy Orton and Edge would both become important figures in each other's respective careers, and they would go on to form Rated RKO years after, which I will be talking about the success and failures of their tag team run in a future edition. So Edge interrupted Triple H and essentially told Triple H that I'm taking Evolution down one by one. So I thought, okay, finally, we're getting somewhere. This is what Edge should have done from the beginning, go straight after Evolution. And he did, but we just had to wait a few months to get to that point. And Edge delivered a brilliant promo saying about how he sat at home for over a year and watched Evolution dominate Raw, and it was time for a change. That's what I wanted to see, and that's what we got, and I loved it. Edge looked like a real badass, and for the first time since he came back, he actually looked like a real threat. He wasn't just another guy paired up in a random tag team challenging for the tag team titles. I thought, okay, Edge is back. He's ready to kick some ass. He's ready to take down Evolution, and maybe, fingers crossed, this will lead to an epic war against Triple H. So around this time, I started to notice that the crowd reactions towards Edge were starting to change. He came in all guns blazing to a massive pop back in March. But then after that, the crowd reactions started to drop a bit. He was still getting decent pops, but I felt that they weren't as strong as the initial months after his return. It was almost like the fans were getting, I wouldn't say tired of Edge's character. They still liked Edge, but I felt that they were just getting sick and tired of Edge as a face, and they were getting ready for like a change. They were like pretty much saying, "We're not into you as a face. We want a change. We want to see something different and new because this is getting a bit old now." So Edge defeated Randy Orton at Vengeance 2004 for the Intercontinental title in a great match, probably the best match of the pay per view. But what I noticed when I rewatched that match, Randy Orton, even though he was the big cocky heel as the Legend Killer with Evolution, he was getting a lot of cheers. Every move that Randy Orton did, he was getting a lot of cheers. Every time Edge did a move, he still got cheered, but I could slowly hear more boos. So I thought to myself, maybe it was Randy Orton's hometown or something, or maybe they just liked Randy Orton more. I mean, I was trying to figure out what the reason was for Edge getting the reaction he was getting. So after he won the Intercontinental title, he defeated Randy Orton again in a rematch on Raw. And as we were heading towards SummerSlam, it was business as usual. He was in a program with Chris Jericho and Batista. Edge, Jericho, and Benoit, those three were kind of like a semi team feuding against Evolution in those summer months, which was quite enjoyable. I thought, okay, this is good. I'm liking this. This is quite cool. But at the same time, I thought we need to see a bit more from Edge because he's kind of getting lost here. And Edge did start to slowly show signs of a heel. There was a situation where Batista knocked out Jericho and Edge just left him. So they were kind of like teasing something with Edge and Jericho. So we get to SummerSlam 2004 in Toronto, Canada, Edge's hometown, and he got absolutely booed out of the building. The Canadians favoured Jericho over Edge, and I find this really interesting. I think Chris Jericho is very popular. I mean, he's Canadian for starters, but what I've noticed is every time there's a show in Canada, whether it's Raw or a pay per view, Jericho always seems to outcheer everyone. I mean, I'll never forget back in 2003, Shawn Michaels came to Canada and he got absolutely booed. I expected that because the scene of the crime, the Montreal Screwjob, screwing Bret Hart, I get that. That's why they will cheer Jericho over Shawn Michaels. I respect that. No one likes Shawn Michaels in Canada. But with Edge, he's a fellow Canadian, just like Jericho. Why would you boo your own Canadian guy? It just never made any sense. And Edge would retain the Intercontinental title. Not that the fans cared, they just booed him out of the building. And I just found it really, really strange. I thought, what's going on here? You know, Edge is a face. I know he did get off to a bit of a shaky start, feuding with Kane, which went nowhere. But it seemed like he was starting to find his ground and footing a bit, mixing up with Evolution. But the fans were still not having it. Even when he was mixing up with a cocky heel like Randy Orton, the fans cheered Orton over Edge. So it was very, very strange. And Jericho, weeks earlier, he left Edge in the middle of the ring to get destroyed by Batista. And then Edge would return the favor again. And he forfeited the Intercontinental title due to injury. And yeah, that was pretty much it. We wouldn't see Edge again until around September time, like mid September. And yeah, he was really starting to show signs of being a heel. He hadn't actually turned yet, but he was pretty much done with tag teams by this point, and he was hungry to win the world title. So we would kind of start to see the seeds planted for a heel turn, which will be covered in a future edition. But yeah, this face run of Edge was very strange. It was very, very strange. I mean, I like Edge, but I didn't hate him. I thought Edge was cool. It's one of my favorites, always has been. But as I said, it just seemed like creative didn't know what to do with him, and he wasn't really sure what he wanted to do either. He was just going through the motions. And it's a shame, really, because Edge is one of the best in the world. But by October, Edge would finally find something that he could get his teeth into, and he would turn heel, which we'll leave it there and we'll cover that for another time. So, in terms of the success and failures of Edge's 2004 face run from March 2004 to September 2004, I love Edge, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to say this was a complete failure, if I'm truly honest. Came in all guns blazing, as I said earlier, got off to a strong start, speared Eric Bischoff, and then after that, he just went whack. You know, it was just bizarre. I think if Edge returned on SmackDown, maybe we wouldn't have had this problem. Maybe. Maybe he would have been mixing up with Kurt Angle, Taker, Booker T and Rob Van Dam, the Dudley Boys. Maybe we would have seen a different outcome. Maybe he wouldn't have been booed like he was with the Raw fans. I don't know, but I am going out to say this was a failure, which I don't really like saying that because, failure and Edge don't really go together, but I'm just being honest. His face run in 2004 was a failure, but I'm glad they quickly redeemed things and turned him heel, which I will talk about in a future edition. But yeah, this was a complete failure, but there were some good things. I enjoyed the feud with Edge and Randy Orton. That was really good. I enjoyed the promos he had with Triple H. I enjoyed some of the six-man tags he was part of when they were feuding against Evolution. So it wasn't all bad. There were some good stuff, but not enough to say that this was a successful comeback because it really wasn't. No fault of Edge. He was just working what he had to work with, but I think things could have been a lot better if they had booked him correctly. But hey ho, it is what it is. So anyway, that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What was your thoughts on Edge's 2004 face run? Did you enjoy it? Do you look at it as a success or failure? What was your favourite feud during this run? Did you like the feud against Randy Orton? Did you like the promos with Triple H? Did you like his promo when he declared he was going to take down Evolution one by one? Did you like his return when he speared Eric Bischoff? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Wrestling Discussion Series. So until then, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.